Another whole season.
Third year. Maybe I can print your three-peat this time.
Nope. Three-peat's happening.
Oh, so you're like the Lakers got it.
Yeah, right. I'm actually calling my shot right now.
Calling it right
happening.
now?
The three-peat's happening.
They ask you how you are, you
100%.
have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine. But you just
Let's get
can't
into
get
this.
into it because
I hate you.
What is going on, guys? Nick's Picks is back. Season 3. We are ready to go. We have a brand new feature, a couple new features actually for this brand new season of Nick's Picks. But one thing that's not new for sure is I am joined once again by Ben. Unfortunately, this whole being in the same room thing probably isn't going to continue throughout the entire season. We're going to try, but we'll see how it goes. But Ben, welcome back. Season 3 of Nick's Picks. You're 0-2 going into Season 3. How are you feeling going into it?
I hate you. I will. Why does I feel more optimistic winning this than Atlanta winning
anything? One of the first major changes to Nick's Picks this season is going to be a fantasy league. Yes, we are going to start a fantasy football league on NFL.com. It's already been opened. All you'll have to do is click the link in the description down below or go to the Facebook page and click the link in the description on the Facebook page and it'll bring you right to this page here. Obviously, it won't let me get into it because I'm already in the league, but it'll already have the league name and password entered in for you. If it doesn't have that, here are the league name and password right now. So if you want to go ahead and join, go ahead and join. The league draft is set to be on August 27th, which is a Saturday at noon. If there's any issues with that, you are able to put in auto draft, where it will automatically draft your team based on that player's availability when your pick comes up. But if you guys want to be a part of this league, that is how you join. Again, click the link into the description down below and join our fantasy league. Now, what does this league mean for Nick's Picks? Well, Nick's Picks goes all throughout the season. It goes through the regular season and into the postseason. By the end of the fantasy football season, we'll still have a few picks to go before we get to the bet. Last year, the bet was the hot wings, but we had to answer the trivia question, or well, Ben had to answer the trivia questions in order to not eat more of the hot wings. Well, this year, you guys, if you win the fantasy football league, you get to pick the trivia questions this year for whatever hot thing that we have to eat at the end of the year. It will be different than the hot wings, but we'll have to see what will happen. There are a few more things that will be changed when it comes to our picks and what games that we choose to pick from, but we will get to that when we actually start picking games in week 1. But this is the preseason episode. We will go through all of our regular season, preseason picks, what record we think each team will have in each division, how they will finish in each division, and at the end of this episode, we will give you our playoff seedings of what we expect going into this next upcoming season. And in part 2, we will go over our playoff and preseason Super Bowl predictions. So we start season 3 of Nick's Picks with the NFC North. Our NFC North predictions. We start with mine. I'm going to have the Green Bay Packers finish first in this division along with the Minnesota Vikings closely behind them with only a 2-game difference between the 12-5 and 10-7 records that I have them at. I really do feel like this gap between Green Bay and Minnesota is closing. To round out this division, I do have the Detroit Lions finishing 3rd and the Chicago Bears finishing 4th. I think that both of these teams are pretty on par with each other at this point, but I feel like the Detroit Lions just took a big step forward this offseason while the Chicago Bears took a step backwards in helping out Justin Fields in his second year. So I think the Chicago Bears end this season in 4th place after they made the playoffs last year, didn't they?
No, they were terrible last year.
Okay, it was the year before that then. Either way, the Chicago Bears definitely trending downward.
Yeah, I'm with you. I got the Packers finishing first. I got them at a 12-5, but we both agreed actually with Minnesota at 10-7. And then I just think it's such a huge drop between Minnesota and Detroit.
Yeah, there's just a huge gap there.
It's just a huge gap. I mean, like, you look at the Bears, even, like, the Bears, they lost Khalil Mack, they lost Allen Robinson. I do have the Bears 4th. I have them honestly competing with Seattle as the worst team in the NFL. Well, there's another team, but we'll it's kind of close to heart.
We move on to the NFC South. Now, this is probably one of the easiest divisions to predict.
Yeah.
In all honesty.
Yeah.
Tom Brady is going to absolutely trump everyone in this division. I do think that Baker Mayfield will make the Carolina Panthers a bit better than they were last year, and I do think that the New Orleans Saints start to take a step back and start to come to the realization that they are not the same as they were with Drew Brees. So I do actually have the Carolina Panthers finishing second in this division at 9-8, and then the Saints finishing 8-9. And I gave your Falcons 3 wins this season, Ben. 3-14. You know what? If you get 3 wins this season, I think you should consider that a dub in itself.
Jesus Christ.
All right, now to my pain and suffering. Obviously, yes, Tampa I got as the number 1. They're the only team I think even making the playoffs. I do have the Saints second, though, at a 9-8 record because I still think Jameis is better than Baker. But even then, the other thing is that I also trust him a little bit more. And
he's got a better arm.
I mean, also,
than Baker.
But the other deciding factor is the Saints have, in my opinion, at least the far better defense than the Carolina Panthers. And the big question mark still outside of Baker Mayfield with Carolina, or even Sam Darnold, they go with him, is Christian McCaffrey going to stay healthy? And I think if you have a healthy Christian McCaffrey for a full season, which is already a milestone.
See, that's
right
just
there.
it. I'm betting that he's eventually got to have a fucking healthy season, right? I feel like he's due.
I would say the same thing for Barkley, which we'll get to.
We'll see.
And then, I have Atlanta getting one more win. I have them getting 14-13, but
4-13.
4-13, yeah. So only one more win, but honestly, no. One win is a plus.
This hurts a little bit, but I hate both teams, so it really doesn't matter. Philadelphia Eagles did a lot this offseason to improve their team. Probably one of the most improved teams when you look at last year compared to this year. And Dallas really didn't improve anything. So I really do think Philadelphia wins this division this year with an 11-6 record. I think Dallas finishes right behind them at 10-7. And then there's a bit of a gap there before you get to the Giants and the Commanders. I am actually going to have the Giants finish ahead of the Commanders. I know I'm a homer, but it really has to do with Carson Wentz over everything. They chose Carson Wentz to be their franchise guy. And last season, Carson Wentz had the golden opportunity to prove that he's still a top 10 quarterback in this league. A good head coach that he was very fond of, a good running back, one of the best offensive lines in the league, a decent defense, and the Colts were really subpar last year, compared to what they should have had.
The last game of the season, they lost to the Jags.
I don't believe in Carson Wentz all that much, so I do have the Giants 7-10, and then Washington at 6-11.
I agree with you. I have the Eagles winning the division. I have them at a 10-17 record. I have the Cowboys not even finishing above 500. I have them at 8-9, just under 500. Just because, even though yes, Dak is the best quarterback in that division, I don't think it's a question really. But like you said, they lost so much. CeeDee Lamb is solid. I think he's gonna be great, but you don't just replace Amari Cooper with random people. So
right.
That is still a huge loss. I do have the Giants finishing at 5-10. I could see them getting maybe 1 or 2 more because it is the Giants. I think they can potentially upset it here and there, but still not that confident. And then the Commanders I have at 4-13. I probably might make them have less because really outside of Terry McLaurin, who I think is a great receiver,
they have a good defense.
I think talent wise,
that's why I'm at 6-11.
I think talent wise, Washington is better than the Giants, but I actually weirdly enough I believe in Daniel Jones more than Carson Wentz.
This isn't the worst division in the league anymore by any means. No. Nobody in this team is a super team by any means, but I don't all of the teams in this division could upset other teams. We finish it off with what was the bloodbath of the NFC West last year. It is not so much of a bloodbath this year. The top 2 spots really are up for grabs. I could see the 49ers stealing this from the Los Angeles Rams, just kind of depending on what happens to them during the season, barring injuries and whatnot. But I do still think that the Los Angeles Rams, at the end of the day, are the better team. So I do have the Los Angeles Rams finishing first in this division with a 13-4 record. And then the San Francisco 49ers, 2 games behind them at 11-6. I think the Arizona Cardinals take a huge step back this season after seeing how they finished last year. And with everything that happened with the Kyler Murray contract this offseason and how embarrassing that was for the Cardinals organization, I just don't think it's going to turn out all that well. And Hopkins is suspended for the first 6 games again. So 8-9 for the Arizona Cardinals. And then the Seattle Seahawks, you have Drew Lock, and I'm sorry.
Or Geno.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So mine, I am more or less lockstep with you. I also have the Rams finishing number 1. I have them at a 14-3 record. I do still believe in the Cardinals, mainly because I still think they could start off hot like last year. Because even with DeAndre Hopkins, he wasn't really getting the targets, and they still started off at a very high pace. I mean, granted, this is also going off the fact that Marquise Brown just got arrested, but, you know, it's okay. I'm still going with it. And the Niners, they still have to figure out their quarterback situation. It's Trey Lance or Garoppolo, so either one I don't think makes a difference for the team. I still think they will finish 10-7. I think the Cardinals will also finish 10-7. And the Seahawks I have as the worst team in the entire league at a 2-15 record because
Drew Lock.
We're sorry.
So that is it for the NFC. We will show our seedings for the playoffs. But just to run through them real quick, I have the Rams at the 1 seed, the Bucks at the 2 seed, Packers at the 3 seed, and the Eagles at the 4 seed. Those are your 4 division winners. And then the 3 wild card teams I think are going to make it this year are the San Francisco 49ers, the Minnesota Vikings, and I guess the Dallas Cowboys squeezed their way in. I could see the Carolina Panthers stealing that spot from them, though. And as for Ben, you can see he's got the exact same 4 division winners. Not a whole lot of difference there. But he does have the Cardinals still being a decent team this year, making the playoffs. The Vikings making the playoffs, and the 49ers as well. I might not have said that in order, but you guys can see it down below. So we move on to the AFC side of the football, and we will go right back up to the north. And the defending AFC champions, Cincinnati Bengals, looking to not only defend their AFC crown, but defend their division crown as well. And the Baltimore Ravens are really their only contest in the division to do so. Unless Kenny Pickett turns out to be some great rookie quarterback, I don't see that happening, at least not in his first season. I do think that the Cincinnati Bengals actually squeak out this division past the Baltimore Ravens, although I do think the Baltimore Ravens, they got to have a lot less problems than they did last year, right? That's just what I'm kind of hoping for, at least for them at this point. And I believe so poorly that Deshaun Watson is even going to be able to play this season that I have the the Cleveland Browns finishing dead last in this division at 6-11 with Pittsburgh right above them at 7-10 because, Kenny Pickett might win a few games this year. Who knows? But they still have a solid defense in Pittsburgh, so and that'll win them a few games no matter what.
Yeah, I agree with you. Outside of the Browns and Steelers, I do have the Bengals finishing first at 11-6, the Ravens finishing second at 10-7, and I have the Browns. I'm going off of if he stays suspended for 6 games at a 9-8 record, but I think if he's suspended for a full year, I think they just lose maybe 1 or 2 more because decent quarterback play. They can at least they got 2 great running backs and they have very good defense, so I think that will help them out a lot. But I do have the Steelers also at a 7-10 record because they got a great defense. They got the reigning defensive player of the year in TJ Watt. Finally got it, which is well deserved. So overall, just those 2 we switch on.
Well, we have a new worst division in football. This is I think beyond both Souths are pretty bad. The NFC South and the AFC South. The Indianapolis Colts to me are the best team in this division. I think that they are a lesser version of what the Rams were last year. They have every piece of the puzzle there. They just needed a solid franchise quarterback, and they took Matt Ryan from the Atlanta Falcons, who I feel like was just wasting his career away in Atlanta, and not a whole lot of competition in the AFC South because Tennessee traded A.J. Brown for a can of Pringles and a rookie who we don't know anything about. And literally the one problem that the Tennessee Titans had last year was Ryan Tannehill. And they're just like, nope, we're sticking with him. He's our guy. So it's all on Derrick Henry's back from here on out. So I do think the Indianapolis Colts win this division at an 11-6 record. I think last year's number 1 seed in the AFC doesn't even make the playoffs this season. finishes at 9-8 with the second seed in the South, or the second team in the South. I think the Jaguars take a good step forward, finish at 7-10 this year. I think Trevor Lawrence does pretty well. And I have high hopes for Davis Mills. I wrote 3-14 before I really looked into the fact that Davis Mills did really well for his rookie season. And if Davis Mills can lead this Houston Texans team to at least 6 wins this season, that is a huge win for not only him, but for the Houston Texans.
I agree with you. I think the Colts with Matt Ryan will make the playoffs. I don't see, he's not going to be like Carson Wentz. I mean, that's not really saying much.
No.
But
he's not going to be Matthew Stafford either. I think he's going to be somewhere in that middle where he's going to help the Colts win this division easily, but maybe even win a playoff game.
Yeah, I think they might win a playoff game, but, we'll see what happens with them.
On to the AFC East. Last year, the Buffalo Bills got screwed over on a coin toss, and we were left wondering what could have happened to the Buffalo Bills. Well, this year, this is the best record I have predicted for any team going into the season. The Buffalo Bills have a tough schedule this upcoming season, especially just being in the AFC alone. But I think the Buffalo Bills finish this season at 14-3 with the best record in not only the AFC, but in the NFL. And I guess you'll have to wait for part 2 to see if I think that they'll actually go all the way for the second year in a row. But here's my biggest shocker of the entire picks. The New York Jets at a 9-8 record. That's my big shocker for everything. I'm not the biggest believer in Zach Wilson, but he doesn't have to play all that great for this roster to win 9 games. I think that they're better than Miami. I think that I think New England takes a step back this year, so I think that they're better than New England now. Yes, Zach, we'll get into all the MILF jokes later. But if Zach Wilson plays half decent, if he plays half as well as he does at the club picking up moms, the New York Jets can win 9 games this season. So 9-8 for the Jets, 8-9 for the Patriots. And then I know they got Tyreek Hill, but Tua can't throw that far, so 6-11.
All right, so we're kind of in the same boat with the Bills. I have them at 1 game less. I have them as 13-4, but I still have them as the best team in the AFC, at least record-wise. And I have the Patriots second at an 8-9 record, and then I have the Jets at a 7-10 record. I could honestly see those flip because I really don't believe in either team. We don't even know who's calling the plays in New England anymore. And I do believe in Tua. I do think he can prove that he's worth the pick. But I do think that they'll start off very slow, and I think towards the end they'll win a couple games just because why? Because why not? But overall, I still have them at a 6-10 record.
Now we finish it off with the new bloodbath of the NFL, which is the AFC West. Now, we'll start it off with who I think is the worst team in this division, who's not even a bad team in any means, and it's the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders could probably beat a good over 50% of the NFL. They're just not better than the Broncos, Chiefs, or Chargers. They're really not. For the fact that they were as dysfunctional as they were last year and still went to the playoffs means that they have a high ceiling this year. But it's a bloodbath, just like last year in the NFC West. The 4th place team could easily win this division. So I do have the Raiders finishing 4th. I do have them at an 8-9 record. In 3rd place in this division, I do think is the Denver Broncos. Now, Russell Wilson is going to be a huge, huge help for the Denver Broncos. I think they still do make the playoffs because I have them in 3rd place in this division, but at 11-6, who I had the Philadelphia Eagles win their division with that record. Easily, the Denver Broncos can win this division. I have them in 3rd. I have the Kansas City Chiefs finishing this division in 2nd place at 12-5, and then the Los Angeles Chargers just above them, also at 12-5, but could easily be 13-4 or, even 9-8.
Yeah, I'm. The only thing we agreed on the order of Chargers, Chiefs, Broncos, Raiders. I have the Broncos and Chiefs both finishing 10-7, with the Chiefs having the tiebreaker there, because I think they'll probably split, honestly. And I think if I remember correctly, I think the Chargers and the Chiefs play the last game of the season. I think that game will determine who wins it, and I still have the Chargers winning it at a 12-5 record, just because I think Mahomes will have by far the better season than either Herbert or Wilson, but you don't replace Tyreek Hill. You just can't replace that.
You can't replace the threat. Even if you didn't throw to him every time, you still had that threat that you were going to have a receiver downfield 40 yards in a matter of like 2 seconds. So that is it for the AFC. Here are our seedings down below. For the AFC playoffs, I will have the Buffalo Bills with the 1 seed, the Los Angeles Chargers the 2, Bengals with the 3, and the Colts with the 4 division winners. And then, like I said, the AFC wildcard race is going to be an absolute bloodbath, and I think the Baltimore Ravens are the only non-AFC West team that manages to make it in with a 12-5 record, because the Chiefs and the Broncos will steal those last 2 spots. Do you have anything different?
I mean, I have it as Chiefs, Ravens, Broncos, but more or less the same wild card teams. You could honestly put the Broncos at the 5th wild card, and somebody
is going to get left out of the playoffs and in the AFC who should have made the playoffs over an NFC team, and that's just how it is, unfortunately. So that is it for part 1, guys. In part 2, we will go through each playoff round, the wildcard, divisional, conference championship, and the Super Bowl, all the way up to our Super Bowl predictions. We will also give our MVP predictions and maybe a couple other ones here and there. But you will have to stay tuned for that in part 2. Don't forget, like I said at the beginning of the video, to sign up for the Fantasy Football League for a chance to enter in trivia questions to make one of us suffer at the end of the season. It'll most likely be him. Just look at the record. The record will show you what the odds are. But if you've enjoyed this video, guys, like and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you haven't already. We have a lot, and I mean a lot, of content coming to the channel. As you've already known, we've already had a couple of streams happen on the channel, so I hope you guys are willing to come in and join for those. But a lot of Madden content will be coming out soon. So, Nick's Picks Season 3 is underway. Ben, is there anything you want to say before we officially kick off Nick's Picks Season 3?
No, I'm just in constant pain with Atlanta, so at this point, I'm numb to everything.
Cool.
Wow, you're just going to let me stop. All right. Anyways.
In case you guys haven't noticed, by the way, we got 2 new logos up on the screen. Instead of just having Nick and Ben written at the bottom of the screen, that was a little boring. We got Ben's logo over on the side and my logo over on this side. So get used to those logos because we kind of like them. So hopefully they'll be around for a little while. So hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great one. Peace.
I didn't realize we did that at the same time.